The mall, a staple in the American pastime since the mid-20th century. Though some still thrive today in all their retail glory, others have fallen to the rise of our technology. So grab a hot pretzel and find a hard bench on which to relax, underneath a beautiful enclosed facade. And join me as we discuss the history of malls. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the History of Malls. I am your host, Sean, and tonight we are going to talk about the Tucson Mall in Tucson, Arizona. When I first started getting this podcast going, this was the first mall that liked me on Instagram, so I thought it was pretty cool getting some support from the actual mall. If you go to their Instagram page at the Tucson Mall, it says, voted the #1 most legit Tucson Mall account. So I'd like to thank you, Tucson Mall account, for supporting this podcast, and I hope you enjoy this episode. The Tucson Mall opened on March 22nd, 1982, becoming the third mall in the area. And from the looks of the different articles I was reading, the pictures of the mall look pretty rad. There was a picture of a hot dog on a stick, and it just looks so 80s. I wish they would have kept that logo. Some of the other stores on this opening day were mall staples such as Foot Locker. The hardest store to say for me is Cutlery World. I can never say it correctly. They also had a KB Toys, Miller's Outpost, and one that I thought was pretty fascinating was the Black Ram of Albuquerque. It featured handmade leather belts, wallets, hats, handbags, coats, and clothing. Another staple that opened that day was Hickory Farms. You could get the world-famous beef stick for $4.39 a pound, free crackers with the purchase of a cheese ball or log, and buy 3 soups, get 1 free. When this 2-story mall opened, it was huge, and it would get bigger in time. It cost $77 million to build, and on opening, it estimated that 120,000 showed up. That's the biggest I've seen. That is a lot of people at a mall. There's huge skylights and trees and a fountain that shoots 35 feet high. It had 100 stores and was anchored by Broadway, JCPenney, Diamonds, and Sears. The Diamonds was converted to a Dillard's only 2 years later, but it also had the featured store for this week's episode, Mervyns. So I wanted to do Mervyns because it's one of my Levi's pants curse stores. And what I mean by this is that it was a store that I mainly would buy my jeans from back in the day. And as I established a jean purchasing store, there's a curse, and that store would go out of business. First it was Miller's Outpost, then Mervyns, next Godchalk's, and now Sears is dying. So I just order from Levi's.com. So hopefully Levi's doesn't go bankrupt because of my curse. Anyways, Mervyns. Mervyn started in the Bay Area of California and was founded by Mervyn G. Morris. I know the name Marvin, but I've never heard the name Mervyn. I would love to meet a Mervyn. Couple interesting things is that he used his first name, Mervyn, instead of his last name, Morris, as the store. Plus, I guess the architect that was building it said he should put a Y to make it more visually appealing, because how he spells his name is Mervin, but the store is Mervyn. So it's a first name, and it's not even spelled the same, so this guy really doesn't have anything to do with it. They were pretty much like a Sears or JCPenney style store selling clothes, houseware, bedding, electronics, and other stuff. It mainly just stayed in California for a while, but it expanded to other states through its retail lifetime. When they were hurting after the recession, they tried to rebrand by renaming their stores Mervyns, California. I remember seeing this and I was wondering if I would go to another state like Nevada or Arizona, would it say Mervyns, Arizona, Mervyns, Nevada? No, but they tried to put Mervyns, California throughout their stores in the United States. I guess some Mervyns in Texas wouldn't allow it, so they just stayed Mervyns. After declining sales, they finally filed for bankruptcy and all stores were closed in 2009. I guess there used to be a website for a while where you could sign up for a mailing list to get updates of maybe a reboot of Mervyns, but now that's gone. I did find that there is a Facebook page called Mervyns Official, but all they have done there is update their profile and cover picture, and that was like in mid-2016. Maybe we should all like the page, and then there'll be some hype, and maybe they'll actually reopen the stores. I urge you to like their Facebook page. When I was researching this, I paused what I was doing and hit the like button. And I bet now all my friends got notifications that I like Mervyns. So, very short and sweet. That's Mervyns, everyone. Back to opening day at the Tucson Mall. For this opening, they really went all out and had a 10-day opening celebration. The first day was kicked off by a 100-voice honor chorus from Sunnyside Elementary School that sang the national anthem. There's a bunch of drawings for prizes such as Sears. On this opening day, their food court was actually called Picnic Place. Also on this opening 10-day celebration, there are 4 different fashion shows, one of them being on Sunday, March 28th, 1982. It says of the fashion show, quote, "The Tucson Mall will represent imagination with the environment and activity. Nautical is one look for spring, with combinations of red, white, and blue in sailor collar tops, tunics, double-breasted admiral jackets, pleated bloomers, and knickers will also be shown." It sounds like an extremely fancy fashion at this time in 82. In the paper, only after the first couple days, people were really scared, like the building was going to fall down. Something about vibrations on the second floor when you walked, but there was a lot of articles of how architects went there and code people, and everything was sound, and they were good to go. It was built fine. Looking for things to talk about, I found this weird gem during Christmas time in 1983 at the Tucson Mall. The title is, quote, "Bring the kids to meet our magical talking tree." It goes on to say, "What a treat. Our talking Christmas tree will give you directions throughout the store, entertain the kids, and even help you with gift suggestions." They should have really, if you remember a couple episodes ago with Pluggy, the talking fire hydrant, they should have teamed up with this Christmas tree and fire hydrant. It would have been the most spectacular thing ever. In 1984, there was the abduction of Vicki Hoskinson from Flowing Wells, Arizona. They had someone arrested, but a 20-year-old who worked in a toy store at the Tucson Mall said that she saw the girl with a woman. They made a composite drawing and even talked to the lady that matched the description. The police later figured out that the sighting was unrelated to the abduction and was not the girl. One thing I found fascinating is that in 1987, the mall opened the Tucson Mall Medical Center. I guess this was kind of a thing called Doc in a Box. It was this on the second level, and it was a doctor's office. So there was always a doctor on duty, and what they offered blew me away. It says the center included family practice, internal medicine, radiology, and general surgery. "Oh, hi, honey. How was the mall?" "Oh, fantastic. I ate a pretzel. I got my ear pierced and a blood clot removed from my leg." I have never heard of a place to get a surgery at a mall. So if anyone had used this particular one or any mall in America that had a doctor's office, please get a hold of me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at History of Malls. Email me at historyofmalls@gmail.com. I want to know your surgery experience at a mall. Another thing I found in the paper was the feel-good story of the century. The title of the article is called "Mall Walkers Find Friendship and Better Health." It talks about the Tucson Mall Walkers Club that started with only 8 members, and on the 3rd anniversary, it was up to 800 plus members. The mall would give them coins, which they would throw into the fountain as they walk by it. And when they would clean out the fountain, the money is given to the Ronald McDonald House or Child Assault Protective Program and other charities. People in the group walk all different times of the day, but after their walks, they would meet up at McDonald's in the mall and have coffee and chat. Like I've said in another episode, I want to retire and become a mall walker because this is the life. Man, they had this whole society helping people out. These are some good people. So in the 90s, the mall began to do some updates and expansion. It started with Dillard's that added 76,000 square feet to their store. In this upgrade, they also got, quote, special tailored fixtures, more exotic wood paneling, and high-grade carpet. The next year, in 1991, they built another wing to the mall and added 70 stores and a 6th anchor called Foley's. This is a huge mall. It is now 1.3 million square feet. The mall decided to do another opening, another 10 days of celebration for this opening of the wing where Foley's was. And Foley's part of the 10-day celebration, this is the best one so far. They had, quote, 38 tap dancing shopping bags, each representing a store in the 3-state chain. I would have loved to just walk into this mall and have 38 tap dancing shopping bags right there, not letting me pass, just tapping like crazy in front of me. It would have been the worst, best thing I've ever seen. In 1993, the mall got a new food court called Carousel Court, which had a carousel, and from one picture I saw, it had a piano player right in the middle of the food court. This place just looked super fancy. While trying to look up info of the food court, I saw that also in 1993, the parking lot was a super scary place. There was a woman named Ellen Nouse who worked at the mall and was kidnapped and murdered from the parking lot on September 19th. Then, less than a month after that, another woman in the parking lot was attacked from behind, choked, and cut on the throat. She was able to get away. Also in 93, an elderly couple was attacked in the parking lot. After all these attacks, a van system started driving people to their cars for safety. So other changes happened throughout the years, like normal mall stuff. Stores come and go. They still seem to be a huge, thriving mall. I thought it would be fun to read a couple Yelp reviews for this one, just because with Yelp reviews, they're always fun, because most of the time it's just people complaining about complaining. They just really want to complain, and a couple of these are pretty good. The first one comes from Ben B., who lives in Yuma, Arizona, and he gives it 2 stars. Quote, as the husband of an avid shopper, I frequently sit on the couches and chairs outside the stores while my wife shops. Those provided by Tucson Mall are inordinately uncomfortable. They are too deep, so you cannot recline without almost laying down. When you do recline, you begin to slip forward, making for a slouchy posture. If the chairs and couches were more comfortable, I would bring my wife here more often. And then he provides you with a picture of the couch. Now, this next one comes from Susan C. of Seattle, Washington. She only gives it 3 stars, but she has checked in at the mall 7 times. A mall is a mall is a mall. 1. As another reviewer said, you don't have to wear a bulletproof vest to shop here. This is essential in my book and makes Tucson Mall all the more endearing. 2. Discover how Spanish incompetent, bunion-ridden, fat, dumpy, and out of place you are by shopping here. Everyone speaks Spanish, and many wear 5-inch heels. Go blonde, wear something flashy, leopard, zebra pattern, or skin revealing, or else nobody will pay any attention to you. Next is supposed to be 3, but she just has 556, so she completely skipped a number. But here, anyway, 5. Nobody pays attention to me. Every store I entered, none of that. Can I help you? Cold, hard stares followed by a lot of Spanish. Despair. 5. There's a train running through the mall. What I mean is, there's a freaking mini train that carries supposedly sane people through the mall in a haphazard fashion. You pay money for this. 6. Something akin to Arizona Avenue, complete with Arizona-made merchandise, is featured here. A nice touch if you want a turquoise or big cowboy hat. 7. In China, I saw children riding on these motorized animals in the shape of cows and donkeys and such. In the Tucson Mall, I saw the same thing. Unfortunately, they were not run over by mini trains. So this woman sounds interesting. But anyway, that is the mall. I would definitely like to check out this mall because of the sheer size of it. Sounds like a giant mall walking map for myself. If you could, please, if you're there, I know right now is a very hard time in the world as I record this. Hopefully when this comes out, it'll be better. But if you do get to the mall safely, don't do it not safely. But I would definitely like a picture of the directory if you could. You can send it to my Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at History of Malls. You could also email me if you have another mall to suggest, historyofmalls@gmail.com. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me. For tonight's song, we have Ivory's Bust by Bart Graft. Hope to hear from you soon.